It's time for the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. Stay tuned as we discuss local and national sports from Southeast Missouri and beyond. The Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle is brought to you by Royal Retros. If you like cool throwback jerseys of defunct sports teams, Royal Retros is the place to buy. If you go to royalretros.com and you order with the code SPORTSDESK, all one word, you can get a little bit off your order. So check out Royal Retros. And now on with the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
This is Kyle Roberts.
And we have got a full show this week. It is our High School Football Super Show. Very excited about this one in a little bit. You will be hearing from Poplar Bluff Mules football coach Jeff Mannon, Doniphan football coach Nathan Hampton, and Dexter football coach Chad Jamerson. But we've got a lot of other things to talk about. Misha released football and volleyball districts this morning. So we're going to talk about that after we talk to our football coaches. And we're going to talk a little bit more NFL. But to lead off, we are going to talk about the big blockbuster trade yesterday. The Dallas Cowboys sent Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for Pro Bowl defensive tackle, I forget his name.
Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
And 2 first-round picks. And my cousin's husband is a big Dallas Cowboys fan. He messaged me this morning. He was not one bit happy. And most Cowboys fans, from what I've gathered, are not happy with this. Guys, give me your thoughts.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, thank you.
Get ready, guys.
Who's leading off with this nonsense? So, bottom line, I give a big congratulations to Micah Parsons for standing on his business and not allowing Jerry to run him over and dictate his future. And not only that, he got the bag from the Green Bay Packers, a franchise historically known for being cheap. That's a huge statement. Now that what this means is that the Packers have got to win now, and because he's 26 years old, and you want to make sure that you maximize on this 4-year window. Dallas, boy, I've got friends that are Cowboys fans, but I had one yesterday. We'll give a shout out to my buddy Josh. He said, "I don't even know how I'm going to even get through this season because you're in an abusive relationship with Jerry Jones."
Bingo!
Basically since 1994. Jerry Jones is the equivalent of a pimp.
Smack!
That keeps abusing you, but keeps enticing you back with money and promises and whispers of BS in your ear, and you believe it just long enough for him to screw you over again.
Well,
Jerry Jones is a pimp.
Yeah, and basically, the way that the league is set up, and especially the way that the Cowboys ownership is set up, you're basically locked in to Jerry Jones either until he dies or he just becomes, too senile to actually communicate with anybody. But as long as he has enough cognitive power to exercise his control on the team, he's going to. One of the best posts that I saw was like, yeah, we got 2 additional first-round draft picks, but Jerry is going to be making the picks, so they'll suck. It's like
that's not true. It's not to say Dallas doesn't draft well.
I honestly cannot think of Dallas's number 1 draft pick in this past draft. Kyle, you'll probably know from memory, but I can't think of who it was.
And apparently Kyle's having trouble thinking of it too, which speaks volumes, y'all.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to look at, first of all, from the Dallas point of view, you just traded away probably easily your best player on defense, a 26-year-old edge rusher who's led the league in sacks, a 4-time. Oh, we lost Kyle. Kyle, call us back, please. We're going to try to get him back while I am thinking about this. Yeah, you're hearing the phone.
The phone. That's right. The phone is ringing, y'all.
All right. Let's see if I can turn that down a little bit. I'm sorry about that. We are having some technical difficulties. But yeah, he's 26 years old. Your defense just got significantly worse. We got Kyle back. Kyle, can you hear us?
Yeah. My signal disconnected.
All right, that's fine. So you just got weaker on defense, and defense was the last strength on this Dallas team. You didn't get any immediate help. I mean, Kenny Clark might fill the position, but he's no Micah Parsons. I mean, it's like if you traded, Justin Jefferson off of the Vikings for somebody else's wide receiver 2. It's like, why would you do that?
Mark, here's a problem though. Kenny Clark is a very fine football player, but the problem is he's a run stuffer. Yes, that addresses a need. Dallas 29th against the run last year, but you still need to get to the quarterback. Yes, you're 29th against the run, and you're 17th against the pass. But guess what? You're 31st in points allowed. A run-stuffing D-tackle is not going to solve all of that. And they didn't get enough for him.
Yeah, but why on earth would you run against the Dallas defense when they just completely short-circuited their pass rush? This is going to give quarterbacks the opportunity just to sit back in the pocket and pick them apart downfield. I mean, this is it's a cascading effect that makes the Dallas defense worse in every way.
You just took away 12 sacks from their pass rush, which was, if you take away Micah Parsons' production from last season, 39 sacks in 17 games.
And not just the sacks, but the pressures and the scheme where you have to double team him. I mean, you have to put 2 players, you have to put a tight end on the end wherever he is. And this is where this really impacts the NFL, of course, is in the NFC North. Because I hate to say this, but the Packers just went from being pretenders to contenders because the other teams in the North are really going to have to change up their game plan to account for Micah Parsons. In the same way that they've had to do for Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit, or the way the other teams have to do for Van Ginkel and Grenard. I mean, it really... it took a tough division and made it even tougher. And I hate to say this, but it does make Green Bay legitimate contenders this year. But it really does put Green Bay in a win-now situation because now they have $100 million of salary committed to 2 players, Micah Parsons and Jordan Love. And that is not a sustainable model in the salary-capped NFL.
Agreed.
It's not sustainable. But what this does do is now, is adds an extra 12 to 13 sacks to the Packers pass rush, which is just it's a pretty mediocre as in terms of a one dynamic guy.
And I think Kyle's signal's trying to cut out again.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and shift gears and talk about Mizzou's opener. Let's talk about Mizzou's opener last night. 61-6 victory over Sacrificial Lamb Central Arkansas. I mean, there was never any doubt that Mizzou was going to win that game. But, what happened of significance to Mizzou's season is that they have a starting quarterback. It's Bo Pribula. Finally learned how to pronounce his name correctly, Pribula. Unfortunately, Sam Horn was injured on the one play. It's described as a significant leg injury, so it's probably some type of knee ligament, knee injury, something like that. So Bo Pribula will be your starting quarterback. And, we are having all kinds of problems with Facebook Messenger today. So if you hear any computer noises in the background, that's what's going on.
It is definitely not by choice, trust and believe. But as I was saying, you have a top 10 defense in terms of points allowed, number 5 in terms of yards allowed last year. Yeah, I think the Packers are only going to get better, as much as you don't want to have to admit it, but it's the truth.
Well,
the NFC North's a bloodbath officially.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We had started to talk about Mizzou's opener last night.
Yes.
Bo Pribula. I don't think it would have been, even if Sam Horn hadn't gotten injured when he came in, I think it's clear that Pribula won that starting job with his performance last night. 23 of 28 for 282 yards and 2 touchdown passes.
Nice.
A long running touchdown pass out of a scramble. The Tigers have their QB1, and it's Bo Pribula.
Easily. And this is an example of what happens whenever you're sitting behind a thoroughbred quarterback in Drew Aller at Penn State, and you finally get an opportunity. And he looked super comfortable. The one concern a lot of people had, including myself, admittedly, about Bo coming in, we didn't know how good of a pocket passer he could be. And he looked incredibly comfortable in the pocket. And I know UCA is a middle tier FCS team.
Yeah.
They did send 2 guys to the NFL in this past draft. However, still, it's not like we're playing North Dakota State or anything. There's a reason why SEC teams would never schedule a school like that.
Yeah.
I digress. Bo was out there leading receivers. Throws looked very smooth, and he looked incredibly comfortable in the pocket. Obviously, that will change.
Right.
But his ability to improvise and scramble and make plays on the run impressed me. I was also super happy to finally see Ahmad Hardy, who is the crown jewel of our transfer portal class out of ULM. 10 carries, 100 yards, and he was third in the nation in forced missed tackles last year, behind 2 guys you might have heard of, Cam Scadaboo and Ashton Jeanty.
Wow. Yeah, that's impressive.
And considering he did this, and he did all this playing at historically the worst Sun Belt program in ULM. So I was very impressed. Also, I was looking to see how we'd use Kevin Coleman Jr., who was second in the SEC in catches for Mississippi State last year. He had 6 for 48. Marquise Johnson really broke out in the game, 5 for 134.
Yeah.
What made me really happy was seeing how much our defense was flying around, and we only allowed 73 yards passing last night against Central Arkansas. Hey, you guys want to feel old? Here's a name for you: Josiah Trotter. Remember watching his dad play for the Eagles?
Oh man.
Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah, we're definitely getting old.
He's a big transfer from West Virginia. He led the team with 8 tackles. All in all, was very, very happy.
Yeah, and Kyle, it looks like you only get about 5 minutes or so to speak before the connection goes out.
So I was very...
Yeah, it sounds like Kyle's connection is failing again. And on that note, we are going to break, and when we come back, we are going to be talking with high school football coaches Jeff Mannon, Nathan Hampton, and Chad Jamerson here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and joining us now is Poplar Bluff Mules football coach Jeff Mannon. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me, man.
You know what? The day's almost here. High school football season starts in earnest and officially on Friday night. You guys are headed down to Jonesboro, Arkansas to take on the Valley View Blazers. You know, that's going to be a tough test. I'll let you tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, you know, the kids are chomping at the bit just to see something of a different color jersey. They've had a really good summer. We've got a lot of base stuff in, and we're going to continue to grow as the season. You know, Valley View is a really tough test for us to start off. They've been established. They've ran their same offensive defense from lower levels all the way up, kind of like we're trying to do now. So it'll be a good measuring stick to kind of see how we're at, and we're still in the judgment stage of some of our positions, and I think it'll give us an idea as the game goes on what we need to do. But no, I think if we go out and we execute and the kids buy in, I think we got a shot to make some noise next Friday. So
good deal. When we talked last month, you were still, looking at some options on quarterback. What are you looking at now?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're still kind of up in the air at quarterback. Both the guys do certain things well, and they're going to both get some snaps. Right now, it looks like Colt's going to probably start off for us, and then Gage is going to end up rotating in. Both of them, they have certain skill sets that fit our offense better. And, as play callers and trying to get everything going on, we're trying to optimize those skill sets when they're on the field because Colt's going to have to play some defense for us so Gage can come in and give us some spell on offense and stuff like that. So.
There you go. We talked a little bit earlier, about your offensive line. Tell me about those guys.
Right now, we're just trying to get those guys to gel. We've had some injury bugs bite us in camp and stuff, so we've had some guys kind of rotate in and out. We're asking a lot of some sophomores to step up. It's kind of hard freshman line-wise to step up as a sophomore or freshman or whatever, play varsity line. But we're asking a lot of some of those guys. It's just going to take them throughout the season before they can gel and start getting their assignments down correctly and start learning the little technique things that we've been telling them. It's one thing for them to see it in practice. When they start seeing it live speed, it just kind of starts making sense to them. So.
Indeed, but you've also got some guys returning, at the skill positions. You got Devin Ferguson back.
Yeah.
Tell me about them.
We're pretty deep at the skill position. You got Ferguson coming back at running back. We got Slack coming back at receiver. J.R. Lathan played some receiver for us. Jenkins we had at running back last year. We moved him to a slot. I don't know if I mentioned Larkins. Larkins is running the ball really well right now.
There you go.
He's going to be a downhill runner for us. That's kind of the strength of our team right now. We have a lot of skill guys coming back from last year, offensively and defensively, and I think they're going to help carry us through some games and stuff while our linemen start, learning the base and grow into their own. So
there you go. But on the defensive side of the ball, you've got some experience coming back. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I got some 3-year starters and linebackers coming back. This will be the 4th year. Jenkins is kind of doing really well over there. He's been a tackle machine the last few years for us. Cole Clifford's coming back playing safety for us. All our corners had experience last year. Larkins had experience last year. He's our starting outside linebacker. Bryce Dobbs, we've kind of moved to an outside linebacker position versus the DN that he played last year, and he's done excellent at it so far. So we got a lot of guys on defense that have game time experience, and pretty excited to see where they're at. But it's the same type of thing on the defensive line we got in the offensive line right now. We got a lot of young guys up front on the defensive line, just have to grow into their own. So it's one of those things I think just with time and repetition, we'll get there as the season goes on. So.
What do you guys need to do to take a step forward this year?
To take a step forward this year, we just got to get rid of the small mistakes. We got to execute at a high level and not turn the ball over. Once we start protecting the ball and causing turnovers and end up in that plus side of the turnover ratio, I think we'll start turning the corner and winning some games that we're not supposed to win per se and things like that. So.
Good deal. One thing that has stood out to me about this team the last few years is you guys seem like you always play your best football at the end of the season. You get the momentum and you start moving downhill, and by the time we're getting in weeks 8, 9 and districts, you guys are doing some good stuff. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the last couple of years we knew we've kind of had a young nucleus that we had to develop. So with that, them not having game experience, it just comes throughout the season. When you look at teams like Cape and Jackson and things like that, the last couple of years, they've played 4 to 5 more football games than we have in a season. So having those kids get that time and game experience is a big difference. And one thing we did last year is if you weren't a senior, you played junior varsity last year just to get those reps, because you can play within 6 quarters in a week. So we were doing that just to get those guys game reps, and I think it really helped us later in the season because those guys got to see faster competitions and different looks than what they get at practice every day. So.
There you go. Sounds like a good strategy.
Yep.
And that is Poplar Bluff football coach Jeff Mannon. And you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. This is Mike Bueller, and you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And welcome back to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and joining us now is Doniphan head football coach Nathan Hampton. Coach, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Glad to be on here.
This is kind of an exciting year for you guys over at Doniphan. You all played JV last year, but this year you're getting back to varsity play. How does that feel?
It's exciting. When I took the job after leaving Portersville, it was kind of like, we had to go JV for the year just due to the numbers and the depth that we had, grade-wise. And it wasn't ideal, but it was just something we knew we had to do. And finally, we were lucky enough to get a 9-game schedule this year on the, second year of that 2-year rotation for the state pretty much when it comes to schedules. And it's exciting to be able to play on Fridays again, and we're looking forward to it.
Good deal. And, I was looking at you guys' schedule. You've got some pretty solid opponents. You're opening this Friday night with Piggott. You're playing Saxony Lutheran next Thursday over at Houck Stadium. You've got some other cool teams. You've got I think you've got Granite City coming down here. I think you've got another St. Louis school coming down, Gateway. Tell me a little bit about your schedule.
Yeah, so it was me and Coach Epps, mainly Coach Epps, our athletic director. Pretty much from the fall of last year up until last week, we've been trying to get a 9-game schedule put together. And we had to really search around and do some looking and finding some teams. We were lucky enough that I think it was back in May we thought we finalized our 9-game schedule, and it ended up, I guess, in June. Soldan ended up dropping their football program, and then there was another one that Pleasant Hope, I guess they couldn't get out of a schedule, so we were at 7 back up until about 4 weeks ago, and we picked up Missouri Military Academy, and then finally last week we actually got that Gateway game. They're co-oping with Soldan, but it's not ideal when you look at it with the I think it's the 5 road games in a row. But it's one of those that, like I said, I'm just glad we've got 9 games on there at this point. We really didn't. The odds weren't in our favor when it was trying to find a full slate, but Coach Epps did a heck of a job trying to, giving us that full schedule. We got some teams on there that, we've never really that I don't really have a lot of familiarity with when it comes to like Granite City or Gateway. But like I said, it's good that we've got a full slate, and it'll definitely be a good test at the end when it comes to Granite City and Portageville and Gateway. I think Granite City's got 1,900 kids in their high school, which I think in Missouri that'd be the biggest high school in the state.
Oh, wow.
Portageville, is always going to be a tough test, and then we end the year with Gateway, who's coming off a district championship last year. I think they finished 11-1. So,
Oh, wow.
It'll be a good little ending slate to the season to kind of get us ready for the playoffs, hopefully. So.
And this Friday night, you open up with Piggott. They're just down in Clay County, which is the next county south of y'all. We were talking earlier. That's a pretty solid matchup. I'll let you give me some thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's a good week 1 opener for us. Like I said, it's kind of one of those deals you look at, from a program perspective, we're kind of in the same spot. And, they've got some good looking kids. They've got a couple of good athletes that, it's one of those, if we don't come ready to play Friday, they'll, it could, go in their favor. But like I said, it's good to get that week 1 opener here. We've been, I guess they sent us film, I want to say Friday or Saturday. We've been trying to cut it up and watch it since then, trying to get a scouting report together. But, it's one of those that we just kind of have to worry about, like, how we do as a team and, trying to make sure that we're always doing the right stuff and then when it comes to that point that, like I said, we can start looking at other teams next. So, but it's good that we got, like I said, Piggott week 1, especially at home. Hopefully, we can, we'll give them a good game. So.
Good deal. And tell me a little bit about some of your key guys this year.
Yes, we've got a couple of a lot returning from last year. I think we only had 2 seniors on the roster last year. A big one for us. He's going to have to be able to do a lot of things for us, just all over the field, getting people lined up. He's kind of our free safety rover, and one of our receivers. His name's Jacob Putman. We're looking at for him to have a big year to kind of get us going in the right direction. He's in charge of getting us lined up on defense. And like I said, he's one of our returners. He pretty much just does everything for us when it comes to football. Another one we got up front, Cruz Navarro. He's going to be a sophomore. He's our center, and he also plays D tackle. He's in charge, telling, offensive line what we're doing up front, where we're sliding, whatnot. And like I said, defensively, he's a staple up front for us, especially with us running an even front. He's, trying to eat up some double teams. But when it comes to linebacker-wise, we've got Jacob Limbaugh and Tyler Thomas. We have to have big years from them when it comes to what we do defensively, especially. I mean, they have to be, some of our leading tacklers because we ask a lot out of our linebackers in what we do. And then quarterback-wise, we got right now Madden Wooldridge and Alex Jones. Madden's going to be hopefully coming off an injury, so he might be able to go week 1. But we'll see. Like I said, if not, Alex Jones will have to step up for us. He's another sophomore with a good arm. And like I said, it's one of those. We just got to get the ball to the right people at the right time.
Good deal. I think my tongue entangled. What kind of offense are you guys going to run this year?
So we're still keeping our split back veer stuff for us. Like I said, we're option based anyway. I'm a big option guy. We ran the veer at Portageville. It just looked a little different formationally. But we're still split back veer under center. And then, like I said, defensively, we just run a 4-2-5. So.
Good deal. And I'm an option guy too. So when I hear somebody say split back veer, that's music to my ears because that is such a versatile formation. Webb City runs that offense over in Southwest Missouri, and they're a a perennial state title contender.
Yep, yeah, that's what we tell the kids. You watch football, you watch the NFL, you watch college, you see all these teams run the spread, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's one of those. I don't have a Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball or a DK Metcalf catching it. It's like, well, what can we do well? What suits our needs, and that's kind of, like I said, why we're split back there under center. But it's different. Not a lot of teams running over here, especially in Southeast Missouri. You see it a little bit more out west, but like I said, it's just kind of how we have to operate as an offense and as a team.
There you go. And that is Doniphan football coach Nathan Hampton here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
This is Mike Bueller, and you are listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller, and we are live with Dexter football coach Chad Jamerson. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Getting excited for Friday night. High school football is about to be back. We got a little taste of that this past Friday night. You guys played in a jamboree up at Kelly High School in Benton. How did that go?
Overall, I think we walked out of there with it being a positive experience for our program. Our kids came out relatively healthy. No major injuries, just maybe a couple bumps and bruises, and we did some good things on defense, and we saw some things that we need to correct on the field. And I think all those are what we're looking for after a Friday night jamboree.
There you go. And you guys open up Friday night with the Malden Green Wave. The Green Wave, have had a few ups and downs the last few years, but they have also got a ton of tradition. I think it's only been about 10 or 11 years since they were making deep runs in the postseason. I want to say back in 2014, they actually played for a state championship. What are your thoughts on the Green Wave?
Well, like you said, tradition. 2014, they lost the semifinal game to Malden at home. 2015, they lose a state championship game to Lamar in the state finals. Next year, they go to the quarterfinals. So there's a lot of tradition there. We're talking about a program that was solid through the 80s, solid through the 90s, and has had a great tradition. I think Treston Pooley is doing the right thing and doing good things there and getting that program turned around. And we're preparing for a battle this Friday. I think those guys will be prepared. I know they returned an all-state linebacker by the last name of Bell. They've got the Dobbins kid who's pretty doggone good too. So we know we're going to have our work cut out for us this Friday. So we're just doing everything we can prepare with starting yesterday morning and going through Friday afternoon.
And you guys are in an interesting position. On one hand, you graduated some pretty good players from last year. The names Nolan Alford and Jet Graham's come to mind. But you've also got some kids coming back. Your cupboard is far from empty. What are your thoughts there?
You're right. We did graduate a lot of great kids. Nolan and Jet being two of them, Lee Michael McDonald, Jackson Howard, and an exceptional offensive line. People forget that we're replacing pretty much our entire offensive line. So, offensively, we're really, when I say that we're taking it one day at a time, we're probably taking it 1 minute at a time in practice, making sure that we're just learning these basic fundamentals. And like you said, the cupboard wasn't bare, but still, nonetheless, these guys haven't had a lot of time on Friday nights, so we're trying to prep them for that. Defensively, we feel really good about where we're at as a program there. Our kids take a ton of pride in how we play defense. It's kind of what our bedrock is. And we return 9 guys that got substantial playing time or started on our defense last year. So, at the end of the day, we know that we're going to have to really lean on them until the offense fully comes along.
Good deal. I know that one thing we talked about recently, you've got Will Geatley coming in under center. What are your thoughts on Will taking snaps this fall?
He's a heck of a field general. He's a great leader, and he had the opportunity for 2 years to learn from a really good field general named Jackson Howard. So I think Will is going to do a great job of continuing that legacy of Dexter quarterbacks. You can go all the way back to the days of, Ben Mills, and in 1987, we had a pretty good quarterback that wore number 11 back then. So I think he won 2 car trophies. We've got a legacy of good quarterback play, and I think Will Geatley's going to continue that for us. He's a great leader. He spreads the ball around. He trusts his teammates. He's positive with them, and when when he needs to fire them up a little bit, he does that as well. It also helps to have some weapons. He's got a Devin Turnbow. He's got a Jason Hervoyevich. He has a Langston Wernick and a Kel Pierman and a Baron Greer. He's got guys to help him take care of the football. So I'm really excited for the opportunity that Will has this season to step into his own and lead the offense.
Good deal. Tell me about you guys in the trenches.
We're returning basically we're returning no one on offense. We've got 5 pretty much new faces. Walker Gerald is the guy that really got the most playing time last year. He'll play tackle for us, and he's really stepped up this year of just trying to help lead. The rest of it will be led by a senior at center, Jacob Huey, who's had a phenomenal offseason. We've got a couple juniors on there, or we've got one junior on there. Tristan Pezel, a guard by a sophomore named Jack Smith, and then we've got another senior that has converted and stepped in to play tackle for us, Logan Reed, and he's been everything that we've asked for him this offseason. We couldn't ask for more out of that young man. Defensively in the trenches, we've got a junior named Caden Hart, another junior at nose named Ryan Lohman, and then Landon Annister fills out the front 3 for us. He's a senior. He got a lot of playing time last year on offense for us, so we feel really good about what we have in the trenches. We've just got to continue to grow and gel. Good deal. And here's some other guys you've got on defense. Tell me a little bit about your edge rushers. Our defense, we bring back some all-conference guys. Houston Neely's an all-state safety last year in Class 3. All-conference corner and Devin Turnbull, and another all-conference safety in Jackson Miller. We've got an all-conference inside linebacker, Jason Hervoyevich, who returns for his senior year, along with an exceptional leader wearing number 4, Connor Hill, at inside linebacker. He probably could have gotten some first-team all-conference honors last year. It's just conference was pretty loaded at linebacker last year. And then our 2 outside linebackers are Baron Greer, who will be a junior, who's had an exceptional offseason. I think he's really going to step in and fill some voids for us. And then one guy I'm most excited about and excited for is Rhett Womble. He's a senior. He is an exceptional football player. The hardest thing for Rhett was the last 2-3 years is he's been behind 2 exceptional outside linebackers in Logan Pullum and Nolan Alford. So he's just bided his time. He had a great game last year versus Malden. I thought he played a great game versus Live for Life in St. John last year. So now he gets the opportunity to really take the bulk of those reps, and we're going to see what he's got. But I'm telling you, I think that young man's going to be special as well. Good deal. And last but not least, you guys have some good tests on your schedule this year. You've got, you open with a tradition-rich Malden team. Week 2, you're going to Sykeston. You also play Southern Boone. And you've got some, you got SEMO Central Conference, which is always loaded. What are your thoughts there? Our schedule doesn't do us any favors. It's that simple. Every week will be a test for us. Like you said, we're playing a well-coached, tradition-rich program this Friday here at home. And then we turn around and we go to Sykeston. Well, Sykeston and Dexter is always a good game. And it's going to be even better this year because Jim Mays in his second year with Charlie Vickery, and I know he's got Coach Klung working with the safeties. I mean, that program is on the up. That's going to be a great test for us, and it's going to prepare us for the back end of our schedule. And then you got New Madrid and East Prairie, both well-coached teams. I've always said glowing things about Ian Penrod. I've worked with him. I coached him. He is exceptional at what he does. We go to Southern Boone, which will be a big test, and then the back end of our schedule's also difficult. We take a Joel White Kennett team. We've got to face Park Hill Central, who's coached by Corey up there, and I think he's one of the best coaches in Missouri, bar none, Class 1 through 6. Our schedule does us absolutely no favors. So week in and week out, we've got to do championship preparations because it's what's going to prepare us for the postseason. There you go. And that is Dexter football coach Chad Jamerson here on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.
And we are back on the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller. And we got the news this morning that Misha has released districts for football and volleyball in Missouri. And we're going to lead off by talking a little bit of high school football. And the Poplar Bluff Mules are in Class 5 once again. And they are in districts with Cape Central, Farmington, Fox out of Arnold, Melville out of St. Louis County, Miller Career Academy, which is partnering with a couple of other public schools in St. Louis, Sumner, and Vashon. and with Webster Groves. Mark, thoughts?
Poplar Bluff is going to finish 5th or 6th in this district, and whether or not they can win an opening round playoff game is really going to depend on how the coaching staff develops their offense, whether they can identify a QB1, somebody who can fill the considerable shoes of Jay Edmondson, and we're going to have to see if the defense can play the way they did in the second half of the season and actually tackle, as opposed to the way they did the first 5 games last season, which was pretty dismal. So we'll just have to wait and see. The Mules to me are as big of a mystery as any other team in Southeast Missouri. I just
agree.
Don't know.
I agree. And one thing that we talked about, Kyle, I think you've got some noise in the background, man.
Yeah, I do. Let me step outside.
But anyway, I think in class 5, District 6, I think I see something I want to mention. Oh, and in class 5, District 6, Webb City is in with a lot of Southwest Missouri schools. I mentioned Webb City for a couple of reasons. One, because Webb City runs the same split back veer offense that the Doniphan Dons are running this fall. And also, too, because Kyle is now a Webb City Cardinal. After growing up in Poplar Bluff, Kyle has moved to the other side of the state, and he is a Webb City Cardinal. Kyle, you got any thoughts?
Well, no, I've only lived here now 10 years, I hope Webb is has a lot more athletic dexterity this year than last year. I take my daughter to games because she wants to be a Webb City cheerleader. So first of all, shout out to my princess. And we watched 3 games last year, and I'll just put it like this: we didn't stay for any of them. That team was absolutely slow, and they were just beat off the block. Historically, what Webb does is they win the war of attrition, but they run that offense simply because the athletic caliber is not usually there in this area. You want to go to Joplin for that, but usually they excel in strength and conditioning. Last year, they just didn't have the guys. I think they finished 5 and 6 last year, which is such an outlier for a school with 16 state championships.
Yeah, for Webb City, that's a bad year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a horrendous year. Now, in fairness, we do have to deal with the monster that is Nixa High School out here. If you know anything about Missouri high school football, and the consensus #1 ranked high school player in the entire nation, right tackle Jackson Cantwell out of Nixa, 6'8", committed to the Miami Hurricanes.
The year
I saw him up close. Last year. I said, "What on earth?" Oh, good Lord! And listen. Those kids out there look like me in pads compared to him. Like, are you kidding me? And they got 50 burgered last year. But I look to see some marked improvement because we do have a new head coach. Longtime head coach John Roderick did step down a couple years ago, and he's the athletic director for the Webb City School District. So I do look forward to a marked improvement on the field this season, and hopefully we get to stay for a few games. Their season opener is next Friday.
Yeah. Going to mention a couple of other Southeast Missouri teams that we cover pretty extensively in Class 3 District 1. Park Hill Central, just north of Farmington, the Dexter Bearcats, the Doniphan Dons returning to varsity play after only playing JV games last season. I'll be covering Doniphan's home opener this evening. Fredericktown, Kennett, Potosi, and Scott City with kids from Chaffee joining them. So it is a stacked District 1 in
Indeed.
Class 3.
It's going to be a dandy.
Let's turn our attention now to the girls' volleyball bracket and looking at, Class 4. Poplar Bluff is in Class 4 with Class 4. That is a tongue twister. With Cape Central, DeSoto, Hillsboro, Notre Dame of Cape, Perryville, Sykeston, and West Plains. Mike, you're our resident volleyball expert. What do you think about Bluff's chances in the district?
Poplar Bluff could be a team that is a year away. They are very junior dominated this year. Last year, those sophomores did get some pretty good playing time. So I think Poplar Bluff could surprise a few people this year. But Poplar Bluff's best volleyball may be a year away. They're going to have a lot of those girls back next year. And that team in 2026 could be a really fun one to watch.
One of the coaches you talked to last week was the volleyball coach over in Dexter. They're in Class 3, District 1. Also in that district, New Madrid County Central, Doniphan, Fredericktown, Kennett, and Saxony Lutheran out of Sykeston.
That's going to be an interesting district. Last year, Notre Dame was in that district and ended up getting Dexter in a 5-set thriller in the district championship. This year, Notre Dame has been moved up to Class 4. It's going to be interesting right now. I would say, on what little I know, that the class of that district, I would say is, let me see here, hold on. I would say right now the class of that district is Saxony Lutheran, at Dexter, Kennett. I heard maybe pretty good. I do not know much about Fredericktown or New Madrid County Central. Doniphan was winless last year, so I would be surprised if they're, making a deep run, but you never know. It's going to be interesting. Dexter got hit hard by graduation. They lost their best hitter. They lost their setter. But the cupboard over there is not bare, and Haley Orff has proven herself to be a good head coach in Class 2. I don't know as much about that. Twin Rivers is in District 1 with Caruthersville, East Prairie, Malden, Portageville, and Zenith Hornersville. Twin Rivers is a really good middle hitter named Lily Oliver, led the area in blocks last year. Looks like Class 2, District 2 is Charleston, Kelly, Puxico, Scott City, St. Vincent, and Woodland. Class 2, District 3 is Arcadia Valley, Clearwater, Hillsborough, Grandview, Greenville, Kingston, and West County. Again, I don't know as much about those teams. In Class 1, we have a lot of our area schools. The Boot Hill District is Class 1, District 1. It's Cooter, Delta C7, Hayti, Holcomb, the defending district champion, North Pemiscot, South Pemiscot, and Southland.
That's the whole Boot Hill. That's
pretty well.
All the schools in the Boot Hill except for Kennett, yeah.
Class 1, District 2. Bernie won that district last year and ended up beating Holcomb in the sectionals. They're also in with Bloomfield, Campbell, Clarkton, Gideon, Richland, and Risco. And possibly the best Class 1 district in the area, if not the entire state, is Class 1 District 3. You have Advance, defending state runner-up. They are in with Bell City, a team that went to the state quarterfinals 2 years ago. Leopold is in. I think they were the district runner-up last year. They have got a lot back. So if it's Advance and Leopold in the district final, that's going to be a battle. Meadow Heights is in it. Oak Ridge, that won, I think, District 4 last year. They're in that district. Orion and Zalma. That covers most of our area teams. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I know that St. Vincent out of Perryville is in Class 2 once again. They're going to be tough. Though the weird thing at St. Vincent, their entire coaching staff left before the season, and right now they don't even know who's going to be coaching that team. I asked one of my sports writer colleagues, it's like, who's running practices? How are they doing anything? He's like, I don't know. It's like, so wow. But that team, that St. Vincent team is loaded. They went to the Final Four last year. They've got two of their top guns back in the Rubel twins. I believe it's Kate Rubel and Bree Rubel. They are both legit athletes. So it's going to be a battle. Season got started last night. Bernie beat Puxico. Things really gear up this weekend. I think Poplar Bluff's in a tournament. And then it really gears up, after Labor Day when just about everybody's going to be hitting the court. But on that note, we are switching gears to the National Football League, and I know Mark is excited because the Minnesota Vikings made a trade the other day.
Yes, welcome home Adam Thielen. Yes, he's 35 years old. Yes, he has lost a step. But the Vikings don't have any depth in their wide receiver room for the first 3 weeks of the season. Wide receiver Jordan Addison will be serving his 3-game suspension for vehicular misadventures 2 summers ago. Mm-hmm. We have to deal with that. We did have Jalen Naylor. He's fleet of foot but stone of hands. He has trouble holding on has trouble holding on to balls even when he's healthy, but he injured his left hand during training camp. This is not being confirmed either by the Vikings or by Naylor's representation, but there are credible reports that he had some kind of medical procedure on that injured left hand. And what I heard from, I believe this was either from Chip Scoggins from the Minnesota Star-Tribune or Darren Wolfson from Channel 5. It was one of those two reporters, but this was on one of the Purple Daily podcasts, that the medical procedure was to speed up the healing on the hand, that he could just do nothing and rest it and be out for 5 or 6 weeks, or he could have, it's a surgery, they call it a procedure, but obviously it's a surgery.
Yep.
So I don't know enough about physiology to know what type of surgery would be necessary to speed the healing on an injured hand. I would have to think that it would either be a repair to tendon or ligament, or putting pins in to repair broken bones. But anyway, we just don't know anything about that. So the Vikings were facing the prospect of going into Week 1 on the road, Monday Night Football at Chicago, with Justin Jefferson, followed by nobody. Third-round rookie draft pick Ty Felton, and then a bunch of practice squad guys. Mm-hmm. So,
ouch.
Bringing back Thielen. Thielen was a steady hand for Carolina in his 3 seasons there. He was really instrumental in Bryce Young's development and especially his emergence last season. Thielen still lives in Minnesota. He has worked out with J.J. McCarthy over the past 2 seasons in the summertime. So he was back up in Minnesota. So he knows what McCarthy's passes look like. Obviously, he knows KOC's offensive system. It's not going to take him any time at all to get back up to speed. So now you've got Jefferson, Thielen, Ty Felton. That's basically it. Those are basically your 3 receivers. I'm not counting Naylor in because, like I said, he has trouble catching the football with 2 healthy hands. I don't see how he's going to do it one-handed. Of course, if he's healthy, then that gives you the prospect of Jets, Naylor, Thielen, Ty Felton. I feel pretty good. And then you throw in our 2 tight ends, T.J. Hawkinson and I forget the second guy's name. Sorry, I'm 57. The brain doesn't work the way it needs to. Oliver. And then, of course, both running backs, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are capable of, JJ's going to have plenty of weapons to pass to, especially in those first 2 games. I'm not really that scared of the Chicago defense or the Atlanta defense. And frankly, I'm not really scared in Week 3 of the Cincinnati defense.
Cincinnati has a defense?
A Pee-wee team is going to run all over them.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Trey Hendrickson back. But For now, yeah. But, when you're talking about your big edge rushers, like Trey Hendrickson or like Micah Parsons, or any of the edge rushers that they're going to face. Certainly by Week 3, Christian Darrisaw, assuming that he doesn't, re-injure that surgically repaired left knee, assuming that Christian Darrisaw is healthy, you're going to have Darrisaw and rookie Doniphan Jackson on the left side. And then on the right side, you're going to have big Will Fries and Brian O'Neill protecting the right side. And then you've got either Hawkinson or Josh Oliver, thank you, Brain, that you can go heavy on that side. So I'm confident in the ability of the Vikings offensive line to, and now you're not going to contain those kind of edge rushers, but you can at least slow them down enough. And McCarthy is going to have enough pocket awareness that he's going to get rid of the ball quickly. I think that's one of the things that is going to best characterize McCarthy's performance this season. You're not going to see him the way that you saw Sam Darnold last season, holding onto the ball for 4, 5, 6 seconds and taking a sack. He's either going to get rid of the ball, he's either going to find his receiver quickly, or he's going to run if he has a lane, or he's going to throw the ball out of bounds. One of those three things. I do not see McCarthy taking a lot of bad sacks this season. I think he's got too much awareness of the pocket and of the situation as a player. And the thing of it is, Kevin O'Connell has groomed J.J. McCarthy for this season. I mean, even from the moment that he got hurt, it's like, okay, you can't play physically, but I'm going to start programming your brain to run my offense. So, it's going to go from KOC's brain to J.J. McCarthy's body, and the Vikings have the roster to compete with that. Now, the only other place I think that we're really admittedly thin is at cornerback. We've got Byron Murphy Jr. and Isaiah Rodgers. I think Rodgers is going to be like the discovery of the year. I think he's going to be a great free agent signing. I think we're really going to see great things out of him. Of course, our CB3 is Jeff Okudah. All kinds of potential that he has never fulfilled. The question is, can Brian Flores unlock that potential? It remains to be seen. We don't even know if Okudah is healthy at this point. Last time we saw him on the practice field, he was limping off with a foot injury. Of course, the Vikings like to play a lot of big nickel, and so you're likely to see 3 safeties on the field: Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus, and Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith has been out for a couple of weeks with an undisclosed personal illness. We expect that he will probably start. Yeah, it's a big mystery. Don't really know what that is. But Jay Ward could step in, and he showed a lot of promise in the offseason. The real secret for the Vikings defense is going to be that interior pass rush with Jonathan Allen, and I'm going to start calling him Javon the Grave Digger Hargrave.
God, I love that nickname.
Yeah, the Grave Digger. That's just the Vikings have so much talent on that defensive line. A couple of analysts have declared the Vikings D-line the best in the league. So I think you're going to see a lot of things out of them. I think you're going to see a breakout second season from Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is going to just wow you this season. And some other names that are not familiar outside of Minnesota, names like Jalen Redmond and Levi Drake Rodriguez, possibly their 5th-round draft pick, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. All of these players are going to contribute. They can all put pressure on the quarterback. They can all stop the run. I'm going to say it right here, right now. The Vikings are going to have the number 1 defense in the league across the board this season. Even at cornerback. I think even at cornerback. And it remains to be seen whether they're going to sign a veteran, whether they're still talking on podcasts, of course, about do we bring back Shaq Griffin? Do we bring back Stephon Gilmore? That remains to be seen. I think if Flores thinks we need another guy, they're going to go get another guy. But they also brought back Fabian Moreau. They stashed him on the practice squad for now. They've got undrafted rookie Zamiah Vaughn, who impressed in training camp. But here's the thing about Flores' defense. It's really complicated, and it takes about a year to learn how to really work effectively in that offense. Look back at Byron Murphy Jr. His first year in the Flores defense was Flores' first year, and he was just average. He was just okay. Second year was last year, and he played well enough to get a huge contract for the Vikings to come back, and he has been absolutely lights out in training camp. He is one of the defensive stars because he's had a couple of years, and you can say the same thing about players like Blake Cashman and, of course, Grenard, Van Ginkel, all of these players, the longer that they play in the system, and not only for J.J. McCarthy, but for in those organized team practices, against the New England Patriots. The Vikings' number one defense was just giving second-year starter Drake May absolute fits. So, and this is just preseason, guys. This is like vanilla looks. This is not even the stuff that Flores has been cooking up in his basement lab during the offseason. I can't wait to see this defense unleashed on the league this season. I'm so excited. Monday Night Football, Monday, September 8th in Chicago against the Bears, who think they're going to be good this year. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
It's going to be interesting. And Kyle, you got any thoughts on the Rams?
Yeah, my only concern truly is the fact that my secondary is still not very good. We did pick up former first-round draft pick Emmanuel Forbes from the Washington Commanders. We did pick him up in the offseason to add some depth, and he's a ball hawk prototype. But he's also about 170 pounds at cornerback, and against these monsters, that always worries me. But all in all, I love our front seven. Jared Verse who's a natural end is now playing as a stand-up edge, and I love that. Because here's the thing, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, but did not lead us in sacks, and that's something to really think about when it comes to the type of pressure we're able to generate. Braden Fisk, who was his college teammate at Florida State, led the Rams in sacks with 8.5 last year, and he was a Defensive Rookie of the Year finalist. My biggest takeaway as a young man that we signed undrafted, that is quoted as Sean Dolak is a Mike out of the University of Buffalo. Something about that school. They know a thing or two about good linebackers at Buffalo. I've heard of Khalil Mack, but he led the NCAA in total tackles each of the last 2 seasons, but went undrafted due to his size. And our linebackers coach Greg Williams said that, quote, he could teach you the defense right now, and that's from a guy who did not get drafted. So I'm very excited to see what he could possibly do. I love the potential of our wide receiver room. Obviously, I think Devontae Adams returns to form this year, because Sean McVay sure knows what to do with an elite weapon like a Devontae Adams. So I'm very, very excited about what he brings to the table, taking attention away from Puka and Nakua, and in turn making our running game even more effective, because now people have to pay attention to a wide receiver too for us, as opposed to just worrying about Puka, because the last couple of years Cooper Cup wasn't healthy. So I think the biggest winner out of picking up Devontae Adams is our running game, because Sean McVay's offense is based around being able to establish the run, do play action, and get guys the ball in open space. Keep an eye out for Blake Corum, who is slotted as our RB2 behind Kyron Williams. We have a young running back room, but I think it's a very underrated running back room.
Yeah,
so I'm very excited about what the Rams are looking to offer this year. So
I can't believe that you
said
said
for us. I think we're Super Bowl sleeping.
I can't believe that you said that your only worry is the secondary. You've got to be worried
Matt Stafford
about Matt Stafford's back. Oh my gosh.
Just give me one more year. Run the rock, protect him.
Oh my God!
All I need is him to do play action and get the ball deep.
You know,
if there's one thing the man can still do is throw a rocket.
I know, but I mean, his back is like walking across a wooden rope bridge in an Indiana Jones movie. Sooner or later, you're going to step on a rotten plank and fall through.
Listen, man. I didn't bring this up because I just don't want to think about it right now. Let me be positive.
Okay.
Let me give me a little Delulu, just a little bit of Delulu right now.
a little Delulu. And a lot of cortisone shot into that spine.
It's going to be interesting, and I'm going to...
I know it.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You shouldn't have to worry about quarterbacks, Mike. You've got a young quarterback there in
We've
Tennessee.
got Cam Ward. I really like Cam Ward. I'm going to save a lot of my thoughts on the Titans for next week's NFL preview. That's going to be a fun one you don't want to miss. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But I'm very happy with Cam Ward. I have heard that we do need to buttress our edge rushers. I heard that there's been a possibility we may be interested in Preston Smith. I would like to see us get either him or Zadarius Smith, because we do need some help in that pass rush. I mean, that's probably not the only thing we need help on, but after last year, any improvement will be a good thing. 4-13 is an improvement from last year. But I'm going to save my Titans talk for next week because me and Kyle and Mark and some of our friends, we did something really cool. We have got a fantasy football league. It is called the Legends of the Gridiron. There are 10 of us, and I'm going to list off who all's in it right now. I'm in it. I've got 2 teams. I'm looking for somebody to take the second one. If you're interested, let us know. Mark's in the league. Me and Mark are playing each other week 1. Kyle has a team. Kyle is playing our good friend Scott Borgren, who also works at Three Rivers.
I'm going to kill him.
Also in the league with us is our good friend Brian Bess, my former college teammate and former Raider Terrell Green, Andy Roberts, Advent's high school principal, and my former college classmate, my good buddy and former DAR sports writer Brad Hurt, and a good friend of mine named Brooke Warmington that Mark has known for many years. I think, Kyle, you went to school with her. So, yes, we have a co-ed league, y'all. I'm pretty excited about that. And we got some good matchups week 1 because my team, we are known as the Togatee Passers. When I lived in Wyoming, one of the better-known mountain passes in the state of Wyoming is Togatee Pass. It is the gateway to the Tetons, and I decided to turn that into a fantasy team nickname, and I am playing Mark Sanders and his Skull Warriors, not S-K-O-A-L like the tobacco, S-K-O-L like let's go Vikings.
So, yeah, and my team is lousy with Vikings. I was a real homer with the draft picks. This is my starting lineup for week 1. Lamar Jackson starting at quarterback.
Nice.
My 2 running backs are Tampa Bay's Bucky Irving and the Chargers' Nathan Hampton, who I've heard is just a beast, just an absolute monster in the background for the the backfield for the Chargers. My number 1 draft pick was, of course, the Vikings' Justin Jefferson. Got him paired up with Xavier Worthy in Kansas City. I think he's going to be Pat Mahomes' favorite target. I've got 2, actually the rest of my starting lineup are all Vikings. TJ Hawkinson at tight end. I've got Jordan Mason, Minnesota's new running back, in my flex position. I put my money where my mouth is with the Vikings defense. Again, I think they are going to be the number 1 defense in the league. And Will the Thrill, Big Leg Bill, Will Reichard is my kicker. On the bench, Detroit wide receiver Jamison Williams, Las Vegas wide receiver Jacoby Myers. My backup quarterback is Brock Purdy. My QB3 is J.J. McCarthy.
Of course.
Yes. Running back on the bench, Pittsburgh's Caleb Johnson. My backup tight end is out of Chicago, Colston Loveland, and I've taken the Lions defense. So I like my defense. The Vikings and the Lions is my 1 and 2D. I like my defensive points. I know you can't win a fantasy league with defense.
But it doesn't hurt to have.
Yeah, I like those really well. Mike, let's see what you've got over here.
Ooh, yes.
On Tagwadi. I hate your quarterback. I hate that you got to pick him. That's just completely unfair.
Yep, and that's the funny thing. Togatee is spelled like Tagwati, Togwotee. I think it is a Native American name, but it is pronounced Togatee like John Belushi in Animal House in a T-shirt, a toga-tee.
Okay, I got you.
That's a fun one. That's one of my favorite. It's, and I remember my days in Wyoming very fondly. I was only there less than 8 months, but my goodness, I lived in the western part of the state out by Yellowstone. Got to visit Yellowstone National Park a bunch that summer. Got to see all kinds of critters. I even got to take pictures of grizzly bears, y'all. I still brag about that one. But enough about that. Let's talk a little football. My starting quarterback is Jaden Daniels. Starting at running.
I know, right? Ugh.
My 2 starting running backs are Derrick Henry and James Conner. Catching passes for me at wide receiver are going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. and Calvin Ridley.
Harrison's going to have a breakout season this year.
I like him, and I think Ridley's going to be a good one. He's going to be Cam Ward's top gun. Tight end Trey McBride, I really like that. I have got Jerry Jeudy as my flex for the moment. I am starting the Broncos defense and special teams.
That's a great pick.
My starting kicker for the time being is Tyler Bass from Buffalo. And sitting on my bench, I have R.J. Harvey for the Denver running back. My QB2 is Caleb Williams of the Bears. Jaden Reed is a wide receiver on my bench. I've also got Kyle Pitts Sr. Also on my bench, wide receiver Xavier Legette, however you say his name.
Yeah, he's a rookie in Carolina, but he has impressed in training camp. I like Leggett coming off your bench. He's going to be good.
He's actually a second year.
Is he? Okay.
McMillan.
Jaden Blewett, running back from the Dallas Cowboys, and my second string defense special teams are the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, I am going to mention big news in Chiefs Nation this week. Travis Kelce gave Taylor Swift a ring.
Yay! And there was much rejoicing. I'll tell you what, the day that happened, there was nothing on my social media feed but Taylor and Travis. I mean, that was it. No politics, no sports, no nothing. It was nothing but Swifties for 24 hours. It was wonderful.
The funny thing is,
and nobody mentioned it on my feed.
The funny thing is that I actually have a good friend of mine named Jake Bear. Kyle, you might know Jake. Jake is a former Rocky Raider.
Yeah, he did mascot.
Yeah, former Rocky Raider, a Rocky Raider legend and a great guy. Many years ago, back when Taylor Swift was starting out, Jake and his sister got to meet Taylor Swift, and they've got the photos on Facebook to prove it. That's bragging rights, y'all.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Hey, Kyle, do you have a way to pull up your roster and tell us about it?
I already got it, and this is what happens when you forget when draft day is and you're sleeping. So I only have one quarterback. I've only got one quarterback.
Yeah, that's right.
I love me some Baker Mayfield, baby.
Yeah,
he had the best year of his career last year, and he is an absolute dog. He is exactly what Tampa Bay needs, and the Bucs are a Super Bowl sleeper, so I'm in love with that. At RB1, we all know it's all if he stays healthy.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey. I love CMC, even though I'm an unapologetic Niners hater. I have all my reasons in the world, but I do love some CMC. I also got Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins as my RB2.
Yep.
He's a full-time guy there, so fast, and he's really, really good. Again, his success is solely dependent on Tua's health. Wide receiver 1, T. Higgins, because one thing we know the Bengals ain't going to do is run the ball this year. So he's going to get plenty of touches.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also went ahead and I plugged the 10th overall pick from the 2025 draft, Tenaroa McMillan of the Carolina Panthers, as his status is questionable for Sunday against the Jaguars. I have Mark Andrews at tight end. You can never go wrong, even though I do believe this year, by the end of this year, he will not be the starting tight end for the Ravens. That would be Isaiah Rodgers.
Oh, wow.
But I still think you can get a lot of value with Mark Andrews. I have one Ram. Thank you, Auto Draft, for giving me Kyron Williams as my flex. Really appreciate that. I also have the Patriots defense. They have the lovely task of trying to stop Ashton Jeeves from Sunday.
But, they're going to be much improved under Mike Vrabel. Vrabes is going to have that defense flying around.
Yes, he will, and I do like the culture change in New England. They're getting back to being a really gritty, physical team. They're not going to be fun to play against this year. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Are they going to win a bunch of games? No, but they're not going to be any fun.
Yeah.
And my kicker is Jason Sanders, who is on IR, which means I need to get another kicker.
Yeah.
My bench.
You're going to have to search the waiver wire. Yeah.
Dang right.
I definitely will. Again, I had to sleep. I'm pretty sure I had to work that night, and I just forgot.
Yeah.
But I have DJ Moore, who eventually will go back into my starting lineup because he's an all-pro. Chris Olave, you know what? God bless him. Spencer Rattler throwing him pillows this year. God bless him. Tyrone Tracy Jr., the New York Giants running back, who is very underrated. I like him a lot. He did very well, all things considered, with the Giants offense last year. Ramondre Stevenson, who's a workhorse back with the Patriots. Ricky Pearsall, glad he's healthy after unfortunately getting shot last year in a robbery incident. I think he could do some good things with Brock Purdy. Rashid Shaheed, the number 2 with the Saints. They really gave me the 2 starting receivers for the team that might go winless this year. Damn. And the top things off, Rashad White, who's been a solid running back for the Bucs. His status right now is questionable for the game at the Falcons Sunday. But that is my team, the Samoan Werewolves. And for those who don't know what that comes from, that is the nickname of one of my favorite professional wrestlers in the world, Jacob Fatu, because he's all gas, no brakes with it. Yeah,
nice. Hey, I'm gonna give you a little free tip here. Harrison Butker is the top free agent kicker available in the league right now. So you might want to you might I know it's a bit distasteful, but he is projected to be worth 8.3 fantasy points. That's a lot better than 0.
At this point, I just need you to be able to kick, and I need you to be able to be good.
There you go. Oh wow! And guys, that wraps up our show for this week. We have got a big show next week. I think we are going to be airing on Thursday next week. I think we're going to record on Wednesday because it is going to be our NFL Super Show.
NFL preview, baby!
And it's going to be a fun one. We are hoping to have some guests join us for that one. We're working on that. But, wow, it's been a great show this week. We've been having a lot of fun the last 2 weeks. We had our Volleyball Super Show last week. We did our High School Football Super Show this week. We got the NFL coming up.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Fall is when all the real sports start. Football, basketball, hockey.
That's right.
I love the fall. It's the best time of the year.
It is, and my gosh.
We don't take an off season.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's all football all the time because it's the most fun you can have.
We've got some fun stuff planned, but on that note, this is the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle. I'm Mike Bueller.
I'm Mark Sanders.
And this is Kyle Roberts.
And you have been listening to the Sports Desk with Mike, Mark, and Kyle.